Good. Oh, excuse me. Let me do that. Let me have a good cough there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is an amazing day in Florida for many reasons, actually. Not just the weather, but if my neighbors happen to be listening, they left on Sunday. It's been so cold in Florida. I know, I know. When I say it's been so cold, you have to understand, when I'm talking, what am I talking? Like, 55 degrees. But we're very close to the ocean. So we get all those the sea frets, all the mist from the ocean. So when it's cold, it feels colder. I'm going to shut up now because I know that many of you, including my daughter who called me this morning, she just turned cold again, Mum. It's whatever it is, 15 degrees. And I have friends who text me yesterday, it's 10 degrees. And so I know it's cold everywhere else. However, finally, we seem to have, unless it comes back with some great force, I'm hoping it won't, we finally seem to have got over the hurdle of the really cold weather in Florida, and it is predicting it is predicting 79 degrees with beautiful breezes. I look out of my window, there is not a cloud in the sky. It is gorgeous. And Chris, I know you know what I'm talking about, right? Isn't it
I do.
beautiful, gorgeous day? Anyway, before we begin, first of all, of course, I would like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as always, is standing to my right side. And I would like to say good morning to Chris, and also I'd like to say good morning to all of you out there. We have a visitor today in the house. We might have a few visitors before we finish with the show. You never know. My brother came to see me the other day, quite unexpectedly, actually. But I was talking about, and I was talking about him to a friend, and I was explaining how, the relationship that we had, because both of my brothers are a great deal older than I am. So while I was still a small child, my brothers had gone off to the army. In those days, it was you were conscripted in. In other words, once you reached 18, you went into the army for a couple of years. So they were not even around as I was growing up. But anyway, luckily, I did have a fabulous relationship with both of my brothers, and so my brother Terry, who is in the spirit world, popped in the other day just to say hi, which I thought was pretty neat. So when I say we may have other visitors, I mean, those kinds of visitors. But anyway, and also we have Mary Lou, my friend Mary Lou, who's sitting next to me. Say hi, Mary Lou.
Hello, good morning.
So, Chris, I have a very serious question for you. Are you ready for this?
Absolutely.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Is there anybody there?
Many people. Many, many people.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. You can see I'm in a mood, can't you? You can see I'm in a mood today. I'm in a fun mood. I spoke to a couple yesterday, mother and daughter, and the daughter at some point, completely out of the blue, looked at me and she said, "I do like you." Now, I said, "Well, you're not so bad yourself." But what she was talking about was the fact that we were having fun. We were bantering back and forth. We were laughing. And so many people today have forgotten how to laugh. They're so steeped in all of the anger and the frustrations and the, oh my gosh, the world is coming to an end. And my daughter's friend said to her the other day, do I need to get a passport? Should I be leaving the country? And I started to laugh because my question to all of you out there who are thinking, should we leave the country? Should we get out? Should we leave the country? My question to you is, and where do you think you could go which is better than here? Because for all of the politics, whatever you feel about the politics, for all of the, fors and against, and all of the vitriol and the hatred, really, I wish it would stop, because it's, first of all, it's just creating an even worse atmosphere. But there are so many things in our personal lives that we can and should be laughing at. And we should be focusing on not spitting out the vitriol and not being angry about the fact that things didn't go our way or whatever. We should be focusing on our immediate now, being in the moment, living in the moment, because our lives are, for all of us, some more than others, but our lives are so short, as Greg would say to you, a blink of an eye. And so this couple, this lovely lady and her daughter, just loved the fact that I was laughing and making them laugh. Joy is the most important thing. I've got so much to be joyful about. If you take a look out of your window right now, every one of you, if you take a look out of your window, it could be raining, it could be snowing. There's beauty in all of it. If you just look at it, there really is beauty in all of it. I mean, I've complained and been miserable about, it's been so cold, but I actually am. I was all wrapped up on my sofa wearing my beautiful red velvet dressing gown, all snuggled up and nice and warm. And what's not to be joyful about that? So, in every situation, you can find fun, and in every situation, you can find joy. And for those of you who are going through traumas, and those of you who are in the process of losing someone, perhaps, or someone is sick and perhaps even dying, even in those situations, we can find joy. When I go to see my patients, especially those patients who we know don't have too much longer on this earth, um, the amazing thing, and I do this all the time. Uh, the family gathers around. We have brothers, we have sisters, or we have siblings, we have aunts, uncles, or whoever it is who is around the bedside of the patient. And what I love to do, and this is amazing. And if you're in that situation and you're feeling helpless about, what do you need to do to make things better, to make things lighter, to make things more bearable. What I like to do is I like to take people down memory lane, and I ask, so when you were kids, what were you like? What were the things that you did? And I remember once being in a hospital, and the entire family was around the bed of this patient who was basically on on some sort of life support. He was conscious, but and so we all sat around. Well, the stories those siblings told about when they were all kids, and they were all went down memory lane, and it was, do you remember when we did this? And oh my gosh, can you remember that fish that you caught? With it was this big, but you said it was this big. And one of the nurses actually came into us, and a doctor came behind her, because they wanted to know why we were laughing so much. Because in our little corner of the hospital, we were laughing, we were joyful, we were remembering all of the wonderful times that these kids had together. And I'm sure they had some not so good times also, but going down memory lane and remembering the things that we can be joyful about is something that is so cathartic. It is so healing. It is so such a beautiful thing to do. And remembering those joys brings a smile to our faces and makes the situation that we're in much less traumatic for us. And so laughter is what we need in this world of ours today. That's what I've decided. So here we are. So Chris, questions. Let's see what we've got then. If we've got lots of people, questions and comments. Why don't we start with with that?
All right. Well, Gary's saying good morning. And why didn't I know about the Spanish omelet? One of my favorites.
You see, Gary is my go-to for fun. I've known Gary for years and years. He was a student of mine, student of mine for many years. I don't know why he didn't know about the omelette. I mean, you've eaten just about everything else I've cooked. So my question right back to you is: did you do it yet? Did you try it yet? Oh, it was good, wasn't it? It was really, really good. Right, keep going.
There are a number of people commenting about your omelet. Some haven't seen because it was broken into parts 1, 2, and 3, and they've only seen certain parts of it. So they're now scrambling to say, all right, I need to go back and watch it. And Annika's asking me, that omelet must have been heavenly, was it? And of course it was.
It's really, potatoes are the base, fried potatoes. I like to cook my potatoes very lightly so that they're not in the pan too. Yeah, I let them go cold and I slice them up in butter and fry those and turn them till they're nice and brown and crispy. And well, anyway, you can look at the video. Then, of course, I take the potatoes out and off we go with the onions. I actually do. I don't know, Chris, about you, but I think I put too many onions in. But I love onions. I love cooked onions, so work for me. But anyway, so then you do the onions, and then and it's simple. And then you just throw in, I put some garlic in, and then you throw in whatever you want, and then finally, when it's all cooking nicely, you throw the eggs over the top. You can actually, if you don't want it to be an omelette, you can actually do all of that and then put it in the oven, put cheese on the top and put it in the oven. And that's called a frittata. So you can have an omelette in the pan or a frittata if you bake it. It's all the same. It's all good. It's all good stuff. But anyway, I'm glad you liked it. And we'll be doing more cooking in the kitchen. Where are we? Chris, I don't have my calendar at hand. Can you tell us when our next cooking show is going to be?
Oh my goodness.
Aside from, we are going to do some off the cuff stuff. I'm going to have Mary Lou when we're cooking. I'm going to have Mary Lou holding the camera and then see what we can come up with. But
well, I know a couple of them you had thought, like maybe in March, I think it was March 9th, the week before St. Patrick's Day, you were thinking of doing something.
Well, for those of you who are in Ireland or even in England, but Ireland is the home of Boxty, Boxty. I'm going to wait and see. Do we get any comments from anybody who knows what Boxty is? And Boxty is a very typical Irish something. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to wait and see if anybody knows. So I thought I might do Boxty and who knows what else. I'm thinking, of course. Oh, I've got it. Irish stew. Yeah, we could do that for St. Paddy's Day, couldn't we? Make some Irish stew. My stew, Chris, you've had my stew.
Oh my God, it melts in your mouth.
I actually, Chris had a very good friend of hers who was very sick. We're going back years and years. And so I made some stew and I gave it to Chris. I said, here, take this to your friend, because I'm sure she's not up to making it herself. And I know that Chris shared the stew with her friend, and yeah, it's good. It's a good stew. Yeah, very good stew. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
Well, then you were talking about May. That's the week before Mother's Day. So May 4th, you're going to try to do one.
Well, it's my birthday in May anyway, so we might do something for Mother's Day. I want your requests. Send in your requests. If you wanted to make something for your mother, if she's still here with us, or let's see, if your mother who may have passed, may have had a favorite recipe. Let's see if you can come up with some ideas for me, and maybe I can recreate your mother's recipe, or maybe I can play with your mother's recipe and make it different, because I do love to do that too. I don't think I've ever used a recipe in a book, no matter where, no matter what. I don't think I've ever used a recipe that I haven't changed in some way or another. Okay, all right. Enough of the cooking. Thank you all for watching the the exciting the cooking of the omelette. Did you like that? The exciting cooking
I
of the
caught
omelette.
that.
We had fun. Okay, keep going, Chris.
All right, Dean's on, and he said, I've been eating my Christmas cake. I add some brandy to it as I'm eating.
No way. Look, Dean, I know that your Christmas cake is soaked with brandy. For those of you who don't know about the Christmas cake, Dean uses my recipe. But he actually wrote to me and said, I haven't eaten it yet because I don't know, what were you waiting for? A special occasion or something? The special occasion is I've got this beautiful Christmas cake sitting in front of me, so let's go. And it really is the most moist, the most delicious, the best thing. Yeah. I didn't make mine this year, I'm afraid to say. But anyway, at some point during the year, and hopefully early on, sort of around sort of end of September, October, we'll do another cooking show, and I will make my Christmas cake because you have to make it at least several weeks before Christmas. And I'll make it and I'll show you. But if you don't want to wait that long, you can go on YouTube. You can go to Rosemary's Kitchen or Rosemary in the Kitchen or whatever it is, and you can find videos of me making the cake and you can find the recipe in there. So you don't have to wait. Go to it, everybody. Okay.
Or
Chris.
you have your cookbook, right? They could get your cookbook.
Yeah, I do. And yes, I do. I have my cookbook, Rosemary in the Kitchen, and my cookbook is filled with, so many recipes. And I always tell people, whatever the recipe is, because I do this all the time. If you feel you want to change it up a little, or if you feel that you'd like it, but you want to add something to it, just remember when you're cooking, just add a little at a time, not a great big load at a time, because you can always cover up the taste of a little, but once you dump a whole lot in, it's ruined or whatever. You can't. Once it's in, you can't take it out. Now, this is not. I know. I said we were going to have fun. I know you think this is a cooking show. What has this turned into? A cooking show? Why are we talking about cooking? Well, I love to cook, and I'm actually going to make potted beef. Maybe when I make potted beef, I got some stew meat out, and I'm going to make potted beef. So maybe when I make potted beef, we'll have we'll have Mary Lou sort of take a little video of it, and we'll throw that in as well. You see, with all sorts. I mean, look, what can I tell you? There are so many things that we can do once we set our mind to it. Right. No more food. No more cooking. Go for it, Chris.
All right, this one's from Eric.
Okay. Morning, Eric.
Do people become more spiritual or clairvoyant when they are on the other side?
No, not necessarily. Excuse me. It depends on the person. It depends on what's going on in their lives. Everybody has choices. We all have choices, so it really depends. We can. The idea is that we're learning, that we're growing, but as people choose in this life where we're here now, people don't necessarily want to learn, don't necessarily want to grow. They're perfectly happy sort of in their ignorance of things. And so it depends, Eric, it depends on the person. I've got hiccups. I'm letting you know I've got hiccups. Go, Chris.
All right, Jenny is asking, how do you have a conversation with others when they are resistant to your help? It's difficult watching someone suffer.
Oh, well, the first thing I think we all have to understand is that whatever our opinions, whatever we think somebody else should do, whatever we might think that would make somebody else's life easier or what have you, we always have to be respectful of that person's views, that person's ideas, and And if that person is not amenable to talking, or is not amenable to listening to your thoughts or your ideas, you need to be very respectful of that, as you would hope that somebody would be respectful of your viewpoint. We need to, you can never force your opinions on someone else, because, it's, well, first of all, it's wrong. I feel it's very wrong to force your opinions down somebody else. And just because they have different opinions doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just that they have different opinions. This last few weeks with this, with the race for, with the politicians, has really shown the world, and anyone who cares to look and to open their eyes to see it, really has shown that, we have become, as a people, as a nation in America, but also in other parts of the world, it really shows our intolerance for other people and other people's viewpoints. And it's very disheartening. It's very saddening to me. I feel very sad that people are still spitting and scratching and screaming and nasty, and making nasty comments, and predicting things they don't even know that are going to happen, and just generally wanting to create absolute distress and havoc. We are, all of us, and I mean all of the voters who voted one way and all of the voters who voted the other way, we are, all of us, entitled to our opinions. We live in a democratic country. We're not in a country where dictators rule, which is why I say to people who say I'm getting out of the country, well, if you've got several houses around the world, you can do it easily. However, you can't stay forever unless you become a citizen of that country, which, is unlikely. Where are you going to go that is better than here? Where are you going to go where somebody like me can say these things, and, then there's not a pounding at the door, and I'm hauled off to prison for having my own point of view? I mean, for goodness sake, let's work on tolerance. Let's work on respect and being respectful of other people's points of view. It is so sad to me to see people fighting and spitting and mean and cruel and saying awful things, that, I mean, here is my thing. This is what I'm going to say to all of you. Don't think because you can't see your angels that they can't see you. Don't think that because you can't necessarily see God or Christ or your angels that they can't hear you. Every word out of your mouth should be at least respectful and have some tolerance for other people's points of view and other people's ideas, whether they disagree with you or not. When you are being vitriolic, when you are writing your nastiness on your Facebook pages, when you are spitting vitriol, don't think for 1 second that Christ, that your angels, that God himself, don't think that it's going unnoticed. And when I say things which, I mean, can be just as bad as everybody else, I'm not saying I'm the perfect person, but when I have said things which, I could take back, or which are mean, or which sound awful, or what have you, I am in the, either you could call it fortunate position or the unfortunate position, depending on your point of view. I can see the eyes of our angels as they look at us with such sadness and such heartache that we have become these people who have no tolerance, no understanding, and worst of all, no kindness for those who are, we perceive as our enemies, or those who have a different point of view. So please, before you spit out the vitriol or write your nastiness on Facebook, and I know how easy it is, I know how tempting it is, but think first. Is this how you want your angels to see you? Is this how you want them to view you? Because I tell you, certainly not how I want them to see me. Chris.
This one is from Greg. Hi, Rosemary. I hope all is well. My good friend had an abortion yesterday and is feeling terrible about it. Is
Oh,
there any words you could share for her? Thank you.
well, okay. Um, there are people who are anti, and there are people who are for, and then there are all those people in between. I think we have to look at the circumstances of such a thing. But I think more than that, we have to go back to prior to that soul, that child in the womb, prior to that soul coming to this earth. And I've written about this. I wish I could point the exact book to you. Um, I'm not sure. It might be in Soul Signs. I'm not entirely sure, but it's certainly what Gradle has taught me. Some souls choose to come to this earth and they choose to want to stay, to learn, to grow the ways of human nature, to want to learn and grow their own, to learn about their own humanness and human nature. They want to experience this earth as much as they possibly can. There are some souls who make the decision to come to this earth to stay for a very short while. They want to have the experience of being in the womb, of connecting perhaps with a human, with a soul in a human body, in a physical body. They want to have the experience of sort of connecting on an emotional or a spiritual level with that mother, but they don't want the rest of it. So they have chosen to come to this earth for that brief moment. There are some souls who choose to come to this earth and they choose to come to the point of entry. They want to, when I say entry into this world, they want to be able to take their first breath. They want to know what it feels like to actually have that sort of amazing experience of being a part of our human soul cluster. They want to have that experience, but they don't necessarily want to continue on after that. Souls choose. We all choose. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I don't agree with that because I certainly didn't choose my life, because my life has been really awful and I've had this problem, that problem. But it's amazing because some of us do choose to come and have this life, and to maybe not have such a great one, or to have to face adversity again and again and again. But that's how we are strengthened, that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we become stronger. So souls coming to this earth choose the duration. Your friend may have chosen the abortion. She may have thought, oh gosh, for whatever reason, she cannot go through with this. She may think that she's the one in charge, but that isn't the case at all, because God already knows what her reaction is going to be. God already has a plan in place, and there are souls who are simply waiting for the opportunity of having that moment, because it is a moment, however long it lasts, having that moment of having a connection with that other soul. And it could be that the connection to that soul is because they are twin souls, or they are joined in some way, or connected in some way. That soul may not want the full life experience on this earth plane, but may simply just want the connection with the mother for whatever reason. So when you are talking to your friend, maybe you'd like her to listen to this, maybe you'd like her to listen to what I'm saying. There is so much guilt put upon us by so many people about our life choices, but remember, God decides. And if God had decided, or if this soul had not chosen this way, if God had decided, the soul had decided, then she wouldn't, it would not have happened. God has a plan. We are human beings. We don't see the whole of the plan. But let's stop this feeling guilty when things happen, or when we are unable to manage, or when we're unable to cope with the things that happen to us, and find the joy and the understanding. You know, I remember having many miscarriages when I was younger, and sometimes I would say to God, "Why are you doing this to me?" um, and we tend to blame God when things go wrong, and we tend to praise Him when things go right. It's not how it works. The life is not how this works. And so please give my love and my joy to your friend, and hold her for me. Give her a big hug from me, because I'm absolutely certain she's going through a lot of trauma right now. And I just would like to say to her, this was not your choice. The soul chose this. You didn't have a choice in this. So, the best you can do now is to get on with the rest of your life and make it the most beautiful and joyful that you possibly can. And I know that some of you won't like that I said that, but there it is. You can't change the facts, and they are the facts. Right, Chris.
So a number of people are commenting on either what you're wearing or your hair or your energy. Gary says, "What did you have for breakfast? You have energy coming out your ears."
I had a slice of toast and little ginger marmalade. There you go. That was it. Mind you, I did have my drink. See, I did have my drink, which I put down to all of that good energy and so on and so forth. Anyway, well, thank you all for saying those nice things. You like my hair? I've grown it a little bit longer. My daughter is ecstatic. She hated when I had short hair, so she's ecstatic. She cuts my hair for me. She does my hair for me. So I will pass that message on to her, that you like. I'm assuming you like my hair. Chris, moving on.
All
Okay.
right. This next one is from Mark. Um, I would like to know if my mom and dad have anything to say about my surprise, shocking visit when I flew home from Oklahoma to Massachusetts to surprise my favorite sister on her 60th birthday and her retirement party. No one knew I was
Ooh.
going to be there except her two children, so they could prepare a space for me to stay.
Oh, Mark, how fun. Oh, good for you. How amazing is that? Well, you know that your parents were there with you. I don't see them this morning, but you know that they're there with you, and maybe I do catch a glimpse, because I'm told that they're ecstatic. So I think they were there with you all. Good for you. I know that we had a question from, we've had a couple of questions from emails and so on, Chris.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can get back to the email. I believe it was from Davide. He
Davide,
was
good
asking
morning.
he's asking about all the NDEs, near death experiences. So people who write about that talk about a disinterest of our own human body and our own families. How can it be possible that dead people want to communicate with us?
Well, okay. First of all, I don't believe in death or death. I had this fabulous. Let me tell you this. So, I had a consultation the other day, and this woman, she's a beautiful woman, and she was having a consultation with me. And as we were talking, I saw her husband, who they had the best and the most wonderful relationship. Unfortunately, he died, when he was quite young, actually. But anyway, they had this amazing relationship, And at one point, he said to me, as I'm giving her this message from her husband, he said, "Tell her that I will love." Now, okay, some people think, well, he's already dead because otherwise I won't be talking to him in the spirit world. But so this is what he said: "I will love her till the day I die." Weird, right? "I will love her till the day I die. And as I don't believe in death, that means I will love her forever." I just love that. And so let's see, Davide. Yeah, I think. All right. Well, lots of people write lots of things. I don't know who you've been reading, and there are some very, very good books out there, and some great opinions out there, and there are also some very bad opinions out there. I have never said that the spirit world, what was it? Shows disinterest in our physical body. Was that what? I can't remember the first part of the question now.
Right. Do you want me to read it again or
Yeah,
not?
please. Yeah, yeah.
All right. All the NDEs talk
Mhm.
about a disinterest of our own human body and our own families. How is
Right.
it possible that dead people want to communicate with us?
Well, I don't agree with what you've written. I don't agree that we have disinterest in our human bodies. And one of the, and okay, deal with this. When we pass into the spirit world, we take with us what is known as the etheric body, the same shape, the same size as our physical body. Um, we don't take with us the aches and pains, the arthritic knee, the cramps in the feet or whatever. We don't take with us the cancers and the tumors and the so on that often invade our physical body, especially as we get older. We take with us our etheric body, which is the body that we travel in, same shape, same size, but well and healthy. And so this is how we travel. This is the vehicle. The etheric body is the vehicle in which we travel. Now, when I talk to people in the spirit world, actually they show great concern very often for the people that they are hoping that they're connecting with. For instance, this same person who I spoke to the other day has suffered certain illnesses, physical things, and her husband and her father were very interested in her physical well-being, and explaining to her what she could possibly do to help her to sort of climb over this, the trauma that she's been going through physically, for her health and her well-being. Um, so near-death experiences. I think that when we have a near-death experience, I think very often people have near death experiences. They're so amazed at what's going on, and they're so amazed at the fact that they can, that they can see and hear, and they're not dead. They have all their factors and so on. I don't think for a minute they're even concerned about the physical, because they've gone beyond the physical. They've extended beyond. They have, as I tell my students when I'm teaching my students to connect and to sort of become more aware spiritually, I will often use the phrase, that they are, they have to raise above the level of their physical self. That doesn't mean we don't care about it. It means that we need to raise above, and to in some cases ignore the physical self in order to attain or to achieve a higher level of sensitivity. But that doesn't mean that we're ignoring what we're here for in the vehicle in which we use while we are on this earth. So this is a great question, and thank you, Davido, for asking. But I think that my suggestion to you is, just because somebody writes about it doesn't mean it's real. And a lot of people who have near-death experiences do assume, because they've had that they now they know. Now they know, pretty much everything, and they can write about it, and they write as if they're experts. But every single person who has a near-death experience experiences something different. So when a person has that experience and they're writing about it, they can only write about their own experience, and then they begin, some of them, making assumptions that they may know more. So darling, do be careful, um, to sort of take, when you're reading stuff. It's interesting when you read stuff. I mean, we've got, for instance, Kubler-Ross, who she knows a lot from her perspective as a doctor, and with her patients and so on. Be careful who you're listening to. Take the good stuff, listen to the good stuff, but just be open, and be open-minded, because when we are in the spirit world, we may not be so worried about our own body, because it's an etheric, it's a spirit body, it can't be damaged, it's impenetrable, how can I put it, you can't do anything to it. It is of a spiritual substance. It is pure, absolute, gorgeous energy. But of course, when I'm astral traveling, I'm not thinking about my physical body that I left behind on the bed. When I was in Egypt, I can remember my first out of body experience, sort of standing in the middle of the bedroom, and turning my head and seeing myself, seeing my physical body laid in the bed. And did I care about it? Not particularly, because I was so, what's going on, and what's this? And the next thing, I was traveling, and it was amazing. But at some point, when I come back into my body, then I do have to take care of my physical self. It's important to do it. So just be careful what you're reading, and just be, take things with a pinch of salt. There are people who claim to be experts who know nothing. They know less than I know in my little fingernail. And then there are people who, I love those people who know a lot but don't boast or brag about it, or they don't, they will say, as I will always say, just because I talk to people in the spirit world, and just because I have all of this information at my fingertips, I am still learning and growing, and I have a lot to learn. Just because I seem to know everything does not mean that I do. And in fact, the opposite is true. What I know is not much more than a little fingernail compared to the information and the wealth of information that is out there in the universe for us to tap into. Chris.
All right, this next one is from Judith. I am unable to find my birth certificate that I must have right away. I kept all my important papers together in a box for years.
There it is.
Now now I can't find the box, and I have asked for help from spirit, but nothing. Do you have any suggestions?
I do, Judith. You need to sit quietly by yourself, and you need to go inside of yourself, and you need to talk to your soul, your own soul. You need to listen to the heartbeat of your soul, and you need to pay attention to the heartbeat of your soul, and you need to be guided by that. Don't go outside of yourself to ask these questions. Go within. And the worst thing that can happen is you can call whoever it is, you call the authorities or someone. Somebody's going to have a copy of your certificate. So if you cannot find it, or you happen to have lost it, or it went in the fire when it shouldn't have, or whatever happens, you can go to the authorities. It's not. But am I going on your treasure hunt for you? No. I want you to do this for yourself, because you can. Chris.
We have a political comment, and I'm not sure whether you want to go there or not.
Go on, carry on. It better
all right.
not mean. That's all I'm saying.
This one is from Lorraine. Democracy has always been our blessing, but with this new Trump administration, it is plain to see how they lean to authoritarian dictatorship, undoing all the norms in our government, purging department, forcing people out, etc. deporting non-criminals with families who work hard in our agriculture, waiters, kitchen help, gardeners. It's hard to accept and watch it happen every day.
Well, that just sounds like a statement to me. There was no question in there.
I think it is a
Well,
statement, I
let me
guess.
tell you, I absolutely disagree with that statement. And there you have it. We make assumptions. I'm not talking about Trump now, and I'm not talking about Biden or whatever the other woman's name is, who I actually don't like, giving it up there. And I don't particularly care for Trump either as a person. I'm not talking about politics now, I'm talking about people. We know, we, the people, we know this much of the big plan, and anybody who tells you differently, I'm talking about the ordinary people who are not in politics and we live our daily lives, we have no clue of what goes on behind the scenes of politics. We just don't know. And if we don't know, then how can we make assumptions? I am in favor of every illegal person coming into this country being deported. As a legal alien myself, I have a little investment in that because I had to jump through hoops in order to get into this country, as I should have. And when people come into my country, they should do the same. And in every country, you can't just open the borders and say, let's get everybody in. You're going to get, it's going to be mad. It's going to be crazy. So I am in favor, if somebody does something that is illegal, they should be made to pay the price. It's called consequences. Now, you may all hate me now because you may think that I'm saying get rid of all those illegal aliens who are really nice and good and the waiters and the. I know a family very well. They came in, he came in as an illegal alien and then his wife. Then they had two children who now are American citizens. He was a wonderful man. His family were wonderful. I went to dinner with them every so often, every other week or something. They were kind and they were generous and he worked the hardest I've ever seen anybody work. I have no problem with that, and I have no problem with them. However, at the end of the day, we have laws and we have rules. And if everybody said, forget the laws and forget the rules, where would we be? We wouldn't be a democratic country anymore. We'd be in chaos. So please don't think that I don't feel for those people who are good, kind, hardworking, and trying to make a lives for themselves in this country. But as a person who wanted to come into this country, and I had to jump through so many hoops and so much going on, and I have proved myself hopefully a good citizen. There are laws in place for a reason. And if you don't follow the rules, let's look at the schools. If kids don't follow the rules, there should be consequences. And I'm a person who believes in consequences. If my daughter didn't follow my rules when she was growing up, there'd be consequences. My grandson also. You follow the rules, and the rules are being kind, not deliberately breaking the rules, not deliberately going against the authorities. We have rules in place for a reason. So before you spout, and you did not ask me a question, you just gave out your opinion as if it's everyone's opinion. Well, unfortunately, the majority of this country, democratic country, the majority of this country like it or not, whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not, the majority of this country spoke, and it is a democratic country. And let's see, let's give them a chance. Let's stop the vitriol. I will not have it on this show, and this is probably the last time I will ever talk about politics on this show. Am I a Trump supporter? Mind your own business. Am I a Biden supporter? Mind your own business. It doesn't matter which I am. What I am for is rules, law, and order. We may not like it, but before you start shouting about these dictatorships and the poor people who've come in illegally, just think about it for a second. How about you're sitting in your house and you're watching your TV and some people come barging in, illegally breaking into your house? How would you feel? You'd say, that's not right. Would you call the police? Maybe you might not have a chance to call the police because they'll come in and invade. This is what the law is about. They are illegal. Can I spell it out? Illegal. Anything that is illegal, stealing a loaf of bread, it's illegal. Unfortunately, some people have to steal food because they're hungry, but rarely in this country do they have to steal food. So when you're off getting your passport to leave this country, think about it. Where else are you going to go where there is a democracy in place? And this is what's happening, whether we like it or not. Now, most of you probably won't ever speak to me again. You won't ever come back to me again. But there it is. I'm putting it out there. Like it or not, whether I'm a Trump supporter, whether I'm a Biden supporter, whether I am a supporter of consequences, which I am, doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. And this is not a political show. This is a show where we try to show tolerance and love and understanding. And don't any of you ever think that you can put out a statement, because that was not a question, put out a statement and that I'm going to not say my piece. Chris, did everybody disappear?
No, actually it increased, but that's all right. So you're down to about 8 minutes left,
Okay.
Rosemary. I have another
Oh
question
boy,
for
let's
you.
hope it's a good one, shall we?
This one is from Gwen. Says, "Hi, I'm
Hi,
new
Gwen.
here. Thank you for your beautiful work. My brother committed suicide a few
Oh
months
dear.
ago, and my mother and sister are especially struggling. Are you able to share an encouraging word for them? Thank you."
Okay. Gwen, first of all, let me say how sorry I am for your loss. I think it's really tough when someone takes their own life. I think it's a really, really tough thing because they leave behind so much heartache, so much guilt. If we'd have done this, if we'd have said that, if only, there are so many if onlys. But I'm going to take it to a little bit of a higher level because I firmly believe that we don't die, we cannot die before our time. We cannot leave this earth until God is willing to bring us to Him. So, however it is that we die, and in whatever traumatic and awful circumstances this happens, at the end of the day, I can tell you that this would not have happened if God were not ready to receive him. And I really believe, and I have Gregor putting his hand on my shoulder here for you. So I firmly believe in what he tells me, that your brother is safe, that he was, held in the arms of his angels, that he will work through his issues, and that he will be helped and guided by all of those in the spirit world who went before him, all of those who love him and who care about him. So I want you to, if you could tell your family, I do believe that as awful, as traumatic, and as angry it can sometimes make us when somebody does this kind of thing, I do want to assure you all, and I believe it with my whole heart, I want to assure you all that he will not be on his own, that he will be helped, that he will be guided, and Grey Eagle is actually saying, and he will be healed, because this young man had so many issues going on in his head, and so many reasons why he really felt that he couldn't cope with life on this earth. And as much as your family may have wanted to help, I think he's found now his right place. He will be helped, he will be guided. And Gregor also tells me to tell you, and to tell you that, and he will be guarded by his angels, as will all of you. Okay, Chris.
All right, so last one. Where did it go here? Lexi.
Hi.
Lexi says, I just suffered an acute pancreatitis. I know it's fine to take better, or it's time to take better care of myself. I tend to take care of others first. I'm seeing an alternative medicine doctor today because I don't want to lose my gallbladder. Am I on the right track, or do you have any advice for me moving forward in my health journey?
Well, I think you've said it all, and I'm sorry that you've suffered this, so painful. But if it's the wake up call that you need to say, time to say no to others, say yes to yourself first. Healer, heal thyself. You can't be of any use to anybody else if you are, sort of not sufficient in your own self. So I really feel that going to see an alternative doctor is a wise move. You do really, I would advise you, if you can, if it's possible, to talk to a someone who is into dieting. I don't mean losing weight. I mean someone who's into food and helping you with food, and seeing what foods you eat which are not so great for you, and putting you on that good healthy track. And maybe this doctor that you're going to see will be able to help you with that. Will be able to do that for you. Why I'm thinking of this, I don't know, but my guide says watch the oxalates. I know all about oxalates because I have kidney stuff going on. But oxalates are found very often in dark leafy vegetables. They're found in lots of things. Broccoli's a thing to avoid. Sometimes we think healthy foods. What other people eat that seems very healthy to them is so deadly to me because it's filled with oxalates. Unfortunately, you find oxalates in many, many green vegetables, which we think we should be stuffing down as to be healthy. So just watch out for that as well. And if you're going to see this doctor, make a point of asking about the oxalates that you're putting into your system, because I think you might want to sort of you can't avoid oxalates altogether, but you can in fact sort of cut back on them. So please let me know. We're going to be sending you healing. Chris, if you could put this young lady in the healing book, and we're going to be sending you healing, and please let us know how you're getting on. Okay, that's it. I know Chris has somewhere to be. I have somewhere to be, and I'm sure all of you have somewhere to be. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for your great questions, and thank you all for sort of joining me and wanting to know more, wanting to learn more. I am doing, yes, I am doing my cracking up tomorrow night with my friend Kay from England. Uh, we're not quite sure if it's 5 o'clock or 5:30 because I haven't spoken to her yet, but around 5 o'clock tomorrow, my time, which means if it's 5 o'clock, it'll be 10 o'clock British time. We're doing cracking up. We have a couple of topics that we're going to be talking about. So I'd love to see you there if you can manage it. And if you can't manage to go live, because live means you can ask questions. If you can't manage to go live, then you can always get the recorded version on YouTube afterwards. So until I see you all again, we'll be back next Thursday, and we've got lots of things planned. Chris and I made the calendar. Oh yes, wait till you see what we've got planned. But in the meantime, until I see you all again, I'd like to say thanks, Chris. Thank you, of course, to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, for always being here for all of us. So please, 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 everybody, have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and have a very, very blessed weekend, everybody.